Good evening, everybody. Welcome to At Lafayette Live here on Monday, April 7th, 2025. Hope your Monday is off to a great start. I'm going to lead with, been working with the software, getting some updates done because things were working a little wonky and it's giving me a little bit of trouble. So we're going to try to get through things tonight, but if it looks a little jerky, looks a little wonky, stick with me. We'll see how it goes through the rest of the evening. Hopefully it's okay, at least manageable. But if you can let me know in the comments, like, what does it look like to you? Does it look a little herky-jerky? Looks a little bit to me that way, but I'm not sure if that's me or if that's the stream. So anyway, just welcome and thanks for that. So hope your week's off to a great start. Like I said, also, while you're dropping in the chat what the video stream looks like, let me know where you're watching from. It's always fun to see where people watch from. At Lafayette Live, it's ostensibly about the Greater Lafayette area, but sometimes that means you're here in Lafayette, but sometimes it means that you have fond memories of Lafayette or you're thinking of moving to Lafayette. So either way, or any of the ways, really, we love to hear from you, but let me know. A lot going on this week. I think it's going to be definitely a little bit of a news-heavy show. We definitely stay up to date on what's going on here around Lafayette and West Lafayette, Tippecanoe County, and the entire West Central Indiana area. There's not a lot of great words to talk about our region, and it's a little bit unfortunate, but maybe if we keep using ones that'll make sense. I really kind of like Greater Lafayette area, but the old adage, if it bleeds, it leads, out in the news. That's not what we do here. That's not really the kind of news that we cover here. We're talking about, things that are of interest to people that live here as far as development and quality of life, new parks and new attractions, museums, that sort of thing, development coming to the area, new neighborhoods. Hello, I am a realtor, so I love talking about housing, but the fact of the matter is that we continue to not have near enough housing here in the Greater Lafayette area. So of course, development and, if you live here, if you know anything about Lafayette, it's really kind of hard to think about Lafayette without thinking about Purdue University. And there's no doubt that they are a giant driver of our economy here. As I often say, it's not quite like a lot of other college towns where if the university just got up and left, you would not be left with a town. We don't want to oversell this case either, but I went to college in a town that shall remain unnamed for this conversation at least, where I feel like, at least when I was there, if you would have picked up the university, the town would have noticed. So definitely some Purdue related stuff that we have got to talk about tonight, because that drives a lot of what's going on here. But if you are here, let's go. Whether you're here or not, you don't get a choice. Let's go ahead and dive into tonight's conversation. But before you do that, hit the like and subscribe button. Let YouTube know how much you enjoy At Lafayette Live every week, and don't miss a minute of all the videos that we put out here on the Lafayette Reel. All right. First, it's been hard to miss in the news, and we talked a lot about it over the last several weeks, and quite frankly, we've been talking a lot about it over the last year. SK Hynix is bringing a chip assembly plant, a chip packaging plant to West Lafayette. This was a giant economic news that came out just about a year ago, spearheaded by Purdue University and Purdue Research Foundation, and of course the state of Indiana and the Tippecanoe County and West Lafayette. They all had a hand in this, and it's a $4 billion project under the CHIPS Act, and it's going to be based in West Lafayette. Well, they wanted to move sites from one lot to another, literally 2,500 feet apart. And this got the attention of a bunch of neighbors on the new site, next to the new site, which was not that far away anyway, but we have a body here in the Greater Lafayette area that's part of our county government called the Area Plan Commission. and their commission that consists of representatives from Tippecanoe County, Lafayette, West Lafayette. There are citizens that sit on the board, and they drive our area plans, our zoning, and those sorts of things. And they needed a rezone. And after a lot of heated debate and pushback from residents, the vote to rezone was, of course, a failure. It did not pass. However, that vote is really a guidance vote to the municipality in which that development is actually going to be, in which case this is West Lafayette. So it was going to go before West Lafayette City Council last week, actually, for their, or is it this week? Nowish, for their approval or disapproval. They could have not overridden APC, but they could have said, yeah, thanks APC for the advice, but we're going to go ahead and do this anyway. But they pulled it from the docket, and SK Hynix is now going to finally engage with the community. So SK Hynix are going to host a series of community meetings after their plans have devolved into this neighborhood process. And the first one is this coming Friday, so this is pressing news, and which is one of the reasons that I led with it. Friday, April 11th at 6:30 p.m. at the Convergence Center at Purdue University. And Convergence Center is not really part of Purdue University. It's on State Street. Trying to see if I can get the address for you guys quickly. Let's go to pull up a map, see if... Oh, yes, indeed. It is 101 Foundry Drive. It is directly across from McCutcheon Hall. So if you're out on State Street, it's one block east of the Purdue West Shopping Plaza. But if you're interested in hearing from what SK Hynix and PRF, Purdue Research Foundation, have to say about this $4 billion development that they're trying to bring to the area, you should try to attend this meeting. And they're going to have another several meetings throughout the area in the coming weeks, but this is the first one that has been advertised. And normally I love to go to these sorts of things so that I can come back here on Monday and tell you all about them. Unfortunately, I have a prior commitment this Friday that I can't make it to, but I am certain that some colleagues of mine will be there. So I'll get all the details of what happens and I'll bring it to you next Monday. But you should definitely join the meeting if you possibly can, and we'll see where this goes. I don't know what the future of this is. Don't know if they're going to consider going back to the original location or if this is an all or nothing. We don't know if Purdue Research Foundation has seen the writing on the wall and is perhaps going to relocate to something like the airport district. A lot of unknowns out there, so we're going to hear more. Hit the like and subscribe button. I'll hit the right button. If you hit the right button, hit the like and subscribe button. And remember that we bring you all the things you need to know about the Greater Lafayette area. This is a new one that's going to be very, very planning related. It's going to hit the Area Plan Commission in about a month or so, I believe. A new 11-acre development is going to come to West Lafayette down in the general vicinity of what we, heretofore have referred to as the levee area. This will not be on the levee, but this is going to be on the southeast corner of the intersection of State Street and River Road. And Trinitas Ventures, who is a Lafayette-based developer, is putting together plans for an 11-acre mixed-use project that's going to have 960 units. It's going to be the biggest of all these big apartment complexes so far, which is saying something because they're pretty darn big, and be called the District at Tapawingo. It's going to have a series of 5- and 6-story mixed-use buildings situated around a new public street grid. That's been part of what this entire levee district process has been after, is like making those streets be a little more logical down there. So the River Market apartments and the Speedway gas station that are there on State Street on 26 there, and the Hampton Inn, it's going to be behind those. They're going to tear down the existing building there that faces River Road. Let's bring this up on a map, or do I have a map of this? I got a couple of cool images of it, but I don't think I have a map. So let's bring up the map, and I'll show you exactly where we're talking about. Here we go. So what we're looking at here, of course, is West Lafayette. And if you're not here from the Greater Lafayette area, a quick way to tell, two quick ways to quickly find it on the map, you know, when you're zoomed out like this and like, oh, here's Lafayette, and you zoom into it. Here's the airport. So you can see the two diagonal runways from each other here, the longer runway and the shorter private size runway. Anyway, that's just a little clue. So I'm going to zoom in here, and it's going to go in this plot right here. So here is River Road. You can't see my mouse. Let's do this. Let's get me out of the way. Let me make it so that you can see my mouse, because that will make this a lot easier to tell. Highlight. There we go. Thanks for your patience. Here's River Road that runs north-south right here, and here's State Street /26. This building right here is staying. Silver Dipper Ice Cream, the campus location, is right here. If you haven't had Silver Dipper Ice Cream, well, that's a whole other story. But this building right here is going to be torn down, and then the development's going to fit in all of this green space right here. So the Hampton Inn is going to stay, and the Speedway gas station that's right here, as well as the tree berm behind it, are going to stay. So pretty darn big development coming in there. And I do have a couple of images and renderings to show you of what they're planning on doing with this. So let's start with the renderings. Here we go. So in this rendering, it shows as a series of 5 buildings. So, I mean, it is not small whatsoever. This is Tapawingo Drive along the southern border. This is River Road, and then this is State Street. And then this is more of a artist's rendering of a satellite view. More artist rendering, 3D rendering, that's the word I'm looking for. So again, this is the existing building. This is where Silver Dipper is right here. These are the new buildings. Big one with a courtyard, and a couple of ones smaller than that. Here is the Hampton Inn over on the east side, and these trees over here are where the Speedway is located. I'm a little worried, quite frankly, about what this is going to look like as far as urban style architecture, but here's a rendering of what they show. So there is indeed, you know, a street through here, but they do show, you know, there are greenscapes to make it, you know, pedestrian friendly and bike friendly, and there is street parking here along. And I think we have, yeah, I think that'll about do it for those pictures. They claim that these apartments are not going to be targeted towards students, that they're going to be targeted more towards young professionals, young families, that sort of thing. There is no doubt that we need that kind of housing here in the Greater Lafayette area. I'm just interested to see if that theory actually holds up. Yes, it is down at the bottom of the hill. This is about the easternmost extent of West Lafayette before you cross the river. But there is an existing apartment building that's staying that is currently student-based. So the thing that's going to keep them from targeting students is it's not by the bed. It's by the apartment. But there are many apartment buildings in the Purdue University vicinity that are by the apartment and not by the bed. Are they going to keep students out with some other mechanism? I don't think so. But, you don't know for sure what's going on here. But drop in the chat what you guys think about all of this. More beds coming to the area. It's going to have 15,000 square feet of retail and commercial space. I'm trying to see if how many beds they're going to have here. 681 units, 1,687 beds. So that works out to just under 3 beds per unit on average. So we'll see what happens here. But we're going to keep on moving because there is a lot more to talk about. This next one is very much directly Purdue related. The Purdue Board of Trustees have endorsed a 14th consecutive tuition freeze. 14 years of tuition not rising at a major public research-based university. That's a pretty amazing feat. If you've got a student who's been through Purdue in the last 14 years, and we've had 3 full classes come through of 4-year undergrads, and we're halfway through we'll be halfway through the 4th after this, it's great for your pocketbooks. I think some faculty and staff have pushed back a little bit, saying that, we're kind of doing a little bit of throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's definitely some truth to that. As in all things, there are the two extremes. And the reality is somewhere in the middle. Are some programs and services pressed? Absolutely. I have no doubt about that. Is that everybody's intention? I don't think so. I don't think anybody is out there nefariously going, ha ha ha, we got you now. I think that they want to do the best for everybody, but for students first. It is a university. And again, that's a pretty big deal. So for the 26-27 school year, the base undergraduate tuition will stay at $9,992 per year for Indiana residents. That's less than $10,000. So tuition, just tuition, no housing, room and board, anything like that. You can get through a 4-year undergrad at Purdue University for less than $40,000. That's a pretty impressive thing to say in the year 2025. And then $28,794 per year for out-of-state students through 26-27. So the chair of the Board of Trustees, his name is Gary Lehman, he quoted as saying, and I quote, "It may seem like we automatically approve annual tuition freezes, but I assure you that is not the case. When they are presented, we thoroughly and thoughtfully consider them, working closely with the Office of the Treasurer to ensure they are feasible. We are pleased to endorse President Chang's request," end quote. Again, I think everybody is out there doing the very best job that they possibly can. Is there the law of unintended consequences sometimes? Yeah, absolutely. But that's pretty big news. But the reason that I bring that up is, one, because Purdue is a pretty big entity here in the Greater Lafayette area, and two, a lot of the housing-related stuff that we have talked about and will continue to talk about has been driven so much by the narrative of Purdue University being so successful and their admissions ratio just being off the chart because people want to come here because of the quality of the overall Purdue program, because of the tuition, of course, and because they're qualified. And so we wind up with a shortage of beds at Purdue University, pushing students out into the community that is already pressed for housing here in the area. And it's just this domino effect that just, keeps going and going and going. So yin and yang, good and bad, right? More to come on that. But also attached to that news is the university has announced a 2% merit raise for staff at the university. Now, I know a lot of staff at the university. It's hard not to here in the area, and they would argue that 2% does not keep up with inflation. I will not argue that point. Amen. You're absolutely right. But go take a poll of what's going around higher education right now. Right now, April 7th, 2025. I think it's a little scary out there. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of negative. There's a lot of attacks on higher education from multiple angles, from some from the public, some from politicians. So, to get anything is better than nothing. Now, should we be like Oliver and please may I have another? No, I'm not saying that. But, something, Purdue University continuing to try to move forward and make some sense of the world that we live in right now, I think is a good thing. Hit the like and subscribe button. If you've ever tuned into at Lafayette Live, why aren't you subscribed already? How did you get notice of this week's show? Do you just remember to tune in? If so, great. If not, and even if so, still hit the like and subscribe button. It's a fun stat to see go up. Next up, for things that we want to talk about, a while back, trying to see when. I don't have the date in front of me. Let me pull up one more. Here we go. Is it in here? No. Okay, I don't have that. Ascension St. Vincent and Purdue University announced, I want to say it was 2 years ago, but don't hold me to that they were going to bring some sort of medical care facility, a neighborhood medical care facility to the Purdue University area, specifically in the new Discovery Park district, which is over on the west side of campus, over in the general vicinity of the airport and the Purdue West Shopping Center out that way on campus. They made that announcement. There's a sign in the ground that's been collecting dust ever since. I think they've been weed whacking around it, so it doesn't look, terrible. But they made the announcement, and nothing happened. Lots of things happened in the world. Nothing happened with the development of this medical facility. Purdue and St. Vincent have finally announced that they're going to move forward with construction of this facility in the Discovery Park district. It's going to be I think it's going to be some mix of. I think it's going to lean a little towards urgent care. That's the word I'm looking for. Some sort of like hospital light with doctors in residence and practice treating on a urgent basis. I don't have the exact answers. Nobody has the exact answers for exactly what the medical services are going to look like for this, but it's aimed at being a neighborhood medical facility for the growing residential neighborhood that is happening there. There's the Provenance neighborhood, of course, that is like, directly like Purdue tangentially related. Some would say it's completely Purdue related, and I wouldn't argue with you. So that's coming. I don't think that they set a actual date for when this is going to open, but it is the first news that we've had in a couple of years. So plan on hearing more about that from me coming soon, I hope. I really do hope. Next up, you guys doing okay? Oh, okay. Yeah. No. Yeah, I do get what you're saying. Okay. Sorry about that. Having a little chat with the chat. Next up, there is more air service coming to the Purdue University Airport as United Express has announced daily service out of the airport to O'Hare. The flights are going to be operated by SkyWest. Now, there is already existing air service going into Purdue University with trying to think of the name of Southern Airways. Already flying turboprops that I believe seat something like 8 passengers. The new service run by SkyWest on behalf of United Airlines are going to use 50-passenger CRJ regional jets. So these will be a little more upscale, maybe a little bit faster. Although the distance between here and Purdue and O'Hare Airport is really not that great. And everybody who has flown with Southern, I have heard, likes it a lot. So we'll see how that goes. Currently, Southern flies, I believe, several flights a day. With this CRJ, it's going to be one flight a day. I don't think we have the flight schedule just yet. So, if there's going to be an in and an out, or when exactly that's going to work. So it's exciting to see more air capacity coming here to the Greater Lafayette area. It's going to be interesting to see how this one works out exactly, because it's going to O'Hare. Our existing service goes to O'Hare, and believe me, it makes completely logical sense about why it goes to O'Hare. With the international student population that we've got, with the general national and international focus of our researchers, getting to the hub, to the hub airport of O'Hare means you can go anywhere in the country and in the world. But 2 services going there, and the report that I read said that the current service is running at about 50% capacity. So it's not like we're maxed out at this point. So what does the future hold on this? Not exactly sure. And Purdue is subsidizing some of this to the tune of, I want to say, $5 million. I believe that there are some performance metrics in there that, if they hit targets and actually, sell tickets, that won't be subsidized so heavily by the university. But it's going to begin service on August 5th, which is the same day that the new airport terminal there at the West Lafayette at the Purdue University Airport is going to open. And it is the Amelia Earhart terminal. So that's very appropriate. Hit the like and subscribe button. Come on. Just do it. All right. What else we got on the docket for tonight? Everybody having a good Monday? Man, I want to go back to 80 degrees. Well, I want to go back to 60s and 70s, but I'm over the 30s. I told you there was a lot of news going on here in the Greater Lafayette area. There are some times, probably in the doldrums of summer when everybody's out busy on, doing summer things, when my kids and I are out riding the roller coasters in Indiana Beach or sliding down the water slides at Prophetstown State Park, that there's not so much going on, and, focus a little more on home tours and that kind of fun thing. But man, we've just been inundated by news the last few weeks, few months, and today is no doubt, this might be peak. Don't get me wrong. It makes for an interesting show. Gives us a lot to talk about. Gives you guys a lot to talk about. This is a major headline that's statewide, but is very related to our local community. The Indiana Department of Education and Purdue University have agreed that students who earn the state's new Honors Plus Enrollment Seal diploma and meet some metrics on standardized testing will automatically get general undergraduate admission to Purdue University. So set out to earn the Honors Plus Enrollment Seal diploma, do well on your standardized tests on your SAT or ACT, and get into Purdue University automatically. And of course, that is designed to help develop and pave the road for Purdue students to come to Purdue, for Indiana students to come to Indiana schools, and to come to Purdue University as the land-grant university for the state of Indiana. Anybody here know what Purdue would be called if not for the generous original donation of John Purdue? It would probably be something along the lines of Indiana A&M or Indiana Tech. Think Texas A&M or Georgia Tech. They are Purdue's contemporaries in Texas and Georgia, respectfully. So if you've got a student who's in school, whether they're in high school now or they're going to get into high school in the next few years, and you want to come to Purdue University, you should really think about taking this Honors Plus diploma. Now, I don't exactly know what the requirements are. I haven't dug into this just yet to see like what the course load looks like from a high schooler's perspective. Me, I was a kid that participated in the arts. And I know that some of these programs definitely, provide a strenuous academic curriculum. And sometimes in the past, it has seemed to the detriment or the exclusion of things like music and art, band, choir, and things that are not STEM related. It is not the only path into Purdue University. It is a path into Purdue University. So if you weren't going to take choir, if you weren't going to take band, and that wasn't a concern whatsoever, then you don't need to know those answers. But if that was at all, a possibility, you can still get into Purdue University, via application. This is just a new way to smooth the process for a group of people coming into Purdue. And we're going to move on to our last subject for the evening, I think, unless somebody throws something at me. This one, I've said this for all of them, but this is yet another one that is like major news here in the Greater Lafayette area. We talk about public transit a lot. And unfortunately, in America in general, we lack for public transit. We look around the world and there are many countries that have so much better public transit. We do, of course, have some places that stand out. Washington, D.C. actually has great public transit with the metro. There is the subway, I can't think of the name, in New York City. Chicago's not bad with the L and their bus system, and there are some others out there that stand out. But here in the Greater Lafayette area, we have City Bus, and I love City Bus, but it's all that we have. And it's the Metropolitan bus service that serves all of our area, largely centered in Lafayette and West Lafayette, but going out into the county a little bit. But traditionally, for the last 25 years, they have also served the campus transportation needs of Purdue University, and that was just part of the larger system. And those routes just showed up with the rest of the city bus routes if you went to their website or app or whatever and planning your trips. And so there were these loops that ran around campus that went by the names like the Gold Loop and the Silver Loop and all these various things. There's been a lot of debate over the last few years between City Bus and Purdue University about service and the expectations from one party to another and payment from one party to another. And it kind of came to head in the last year and a half. And it was just announced that the trustees of Purdue University have approved a 3-year contract with an outside contractor called SP Plus for free expanded transit services on the Purdue University campus. So City Bus will no longer be the transportation provider on campus. Now, there are some things that we don't know about this. They're still working out the details. The City Bus will still, at some point run through the campus, and that some of the routes will go through it because those are public streets, and they're places of public interest that people want to go. But they won't be running those loop routes and those shuttle routes from parking lots on the north and south end of campus into the core of campus. The company that they have picked to do this is a company called SP Plus. And they're owned by a company called Metropolis. And it is my understanding that up through now they have largely been a parking-based company. And they have developed AI technology to help manage parking lots for real estate owners, for property owners that want to maximize their revenue in parking. And now they're stepping into transit, and apparently they're going to run multiple routes through and around campus on a variety of transportation types. Apparently they're going to have the full full-size buses, just like full-size transit buses just like city buses had. For the busier routes, they're going to have some smaller bus sizes, some van sizes, down to apparently some electric vans. The city bus contract ends at the end of July. However, campus loop routes always go on hiatus at the end of a school year. So at the end of May is basically when city bus will stop running campus routes, and then this new SP Plus contract will take over. I have a feeling that we'll see some dry testing sometime in July. I'm spitballing here. With launch of the service with the new school year at the beginning of August in this year in 2025. They've got a map here. It's not a great image, but we'll take a look at it anyway. This is from Purdue University. Here it is. So like I said, it's not the greatest, and if I zoom in, it gets a little blurry. But the base routes are green. They're here. Here's State Street down the middle of this map right here. So runs out from the new propulsion labs and stuff out on the west side of the airport, up to State Street, through the core of campus, up to Ross-Ade, making those loops. The gold section are the existing city bus routes. So you can kind of see there's the loops and some other things that stick out. And then the black lines are potential expanded routes. So we'll see that they have some going out to the baseball, softball, Grand Prix racetrack area up here to the northwest of campus, going out to the old State Farm building up here on the it's not on the north of campus. It's in West Lafayette. It's across the street from Walmart over here. No idea. I'm guessing it will be point to point for some of these. Like, if you get on here at Ross-Ade, it's going to go out here to the State Farm building. There probably won't be stops in between. I don't know that. I'm just guessing, but that's kind of major news. I believe Purdue's contract with City Bus was $4 or $5 million. That number is not in front of me right now, but what it sounds like to me, and what I've been able to glean, is Purdue University wanted more control to be able to tell City Bus what the routes were going to be, and they wanted to be able to turn routes on and off to serve demand. And I would say, like somewhat at a whim, but that's taking it too far. But City Bus, having federal grants and being a public transit entity and not a private company, has rules in those in those grants that they have, and in all the rules they have to follow, all the federal rules they have to follow, that don't allow them to devolve that control from themselves to another entity. Whether that other entity is another government entity or pseudo government entity, as Purdue is, they just couldn't do that. It just wasn't in their circle of influence to be able to do that. So it was kind of unfortunate that this fell apart over it, but it is understandable. Hopefully in the long term this improves public transit here in the area, that City Bus can focus more on development in the community, and Purdue can focus more on the development of Purdue, and meet in the middle, and everybody wins for this. We'll really see how this goes in the towards the end of summer and the beginning of next fall. So there we go. We got through all of the news that's worth talking about here on At Lafayette Live. That was a little exhausting. There's a lot to talk about, no doubt. And if you're still with me, hit the like and subscribe button. Maybe as a little bit of thanks for putting all this hard work into the show. No, I'm mostly kidding. So, not about the like and subscribe. So, I think we might do one home tour today. This is a good one. I just kind of wanted to show. I think this is the one I want. Sorry, I'm just going to pull it up here. Yeah, this is a great one to do. And the reason why is West Lafayette is no doubt expensive to live. Housing is not inexpensive here in West Lafayette. But there are options. There are always options. Always, always, always. And this is a good one to show an option. And it is nothing. This is not a not a luxurious house. This isn't one of those like fun, hey, here's a $5 million house. This is a regular sized, regular, just regular kind of home. So this is 3025 Greenbrier Avenue in West Lafayette. This is what it looks like. And I'll show it to you on the map because that is so important in West Lafayette to understand. It's the context of everything, and context is king. No doubt about that. Okay, here is the map. Ready? So you'll see the pin right here. And I'm just going to scroll a little bit. Here is the new 231 bypass, and I'm just going to zoom out, and we'll start placing it. This is Lindbergh Road, major east-west road through West Lafayette. You'll see right here are the golf courses for Purdue University. See this big developed-looking area right here? Here is Purdue University. Here is the airport. So check this out. Bloop over to Klondike, 30 seconds down Klondike to 26. 26 down where it becomes State Street here through Purdue University. That is a 5-minute drive. So you are no more than about 8 minutes or so from Purdue University. And the flip side, for the other side of your life, bloop out here to Klondike, straight up Klondike to Meyer. It looks like it's out here on the west side of town, but West Lafayette is really a compact, relatively well-designed area that's quick to get around. And the reason that I want to look at this one is because, like I said, so many homes here in in West Lafayette specifically are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, and $600,000 and $700,000 and $800,000. I'll tell you the price at the end. This is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 3025 Greenbrier Avenue. It was built in 1969, and it has, like I said, we were having some technical difficulties earlier, and I just want to see. Thanks for your patience. So let's have a look here. So here is the outside attached 2-car garage. It has that lovely slate tile from the 1960s, 1970s. This one's built in 69. Laminate wood in the living dining room. Looks freshly painted or very recently painted. Open and airy in there. Certainly when you get furniture in there, it'll feel, a little bit tighter. A slightly dated feeling kitchen, but you can also think about it as, a little bit of a blank canvas to make it your own. And like I said, this is not a $1 million house. This is a house. You got the lowered counter there. No stainless steel in this house, all white. Back out to the dining room. Into a carpeted living room. Love that carpet. More carpet. I think we're moving into bedrooms here, if I am not mistaken. on this one. Check out those cabinets and that paint job. Does have an older Pushmatic electrical panel. Like I said, this is a house from the 60s and a lower priced house. There's a lavender, purple, dare I say, bathroom. Moving into one of the secondary bedrooms. Like I said, this is a 4-bedroom. So I think we've seen 3 bedrooms at this point. I think that's the 4th with the, well, it looks like actual hardwood flooring. That might be the original flooring in this room. This is the primary. We see the ensuite bathroom here. Moving in, yep, that's pretty typical for the age of home where you have the stand-up single shower stall in the primary and one. Oh, look at that carpet. Buy it just for the carpet. Love it. Got a back deck, a little bit of backyard, fire ring there. Go out and enjoy some s'mores. You got something to mow, but not tons. So there we go. That is 3025 Greenbrier Avenue in West Lafayette. 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 1,924 square feet. Mainline home, just fully mainline home. And it is currently priced at $310,000. And for West Lafayette, that's kind of an entry price. Is it possible to get something lower? You'd probably have to look for a condo or get lucky and go even a little further out. So if you're interested in home here in the Greater Lafayette area, all of my contact information is here on the bottom of the screen. So send me a text or a phone call. But the easiest thing to do is probably go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube and fill out the form and let me know how I can help you find home here in the Greater Lafayette area. And with that, I think we're going to wrap up for the night. Thanks so much again for joining me for another week of At Lafayette Live. It means the world to me that you guys join me week in and week out, that we get to talk about all the cool things going on here in the Lafayette area. But once again, go to thelafayettereal.com/YouTube and let me know how I can help you find or sell home here in the Greater Lafayette area. And until then, we will see you until next Monday. I'm hitting too many buttons. Until next Monday, have a great week, and we'll see you next time.